What up, Wax Dog, man? I just got a few things to talk about. Live ain't gonna be too long, but I'm gonna share a video real quick. What's going on? So, for those who don't know, there was a young man by the name of Rogel Aguilera. He was sentenced to 110 years, 110 years for a trucking accident that he was involved in that he could not avoid. But you got people sitting back, and you got critics, you got lawyers, you got doctors, you got people who don't, not doctors, but you got lawyers, you got senators, you got regular people that drive cars who never drove a truck before. And if you never drove a truck before and you don't understand what I'm talking about, stay in this live. I'm not even gonna kick you out this live. If you never drove a truck before and you need to understand anything about trucking, stay in this live, because it's gonna be one informative live right here. If you never did that before, you give a man 110 years for, let's set my neck, hold on. You give a man 110 years for an accident that he could avoid. Now, I'm going to play this video real quick, and I want you to hear, because now what's going on right now, the governor of Colorado started clemency. He's starting the clemency because what happened was a lot of truckers came together, and they started they started this paperwork up to try to get to get his time reduced. Now, the jury didn't give this man 110 years. The judge gave him years. The judge gave him 110 years for an accident, right? When I mean an accident that couldn't have been avoided. If you never drove a truck before, you would never understand what I'm talking about. You probably sitting back right now and say, Jay Quill, he could avoid it. It was a runoff ramp. The difference in between a runoff ramp is this. A runoff ramp sits on the side. It goes down the dip. It's supposed to have quicksand with gravel. At the top of the runoff ramp, it goes to the top, it drops over. There's these big drums full of sand. Now, after that runoff ramp, there's a cliff. Most of the drivers that hit the runoff ramp, I could say 15% died anyway, that even hit the runoff ramp. So those runoff ramps is there to save your life, and at the same time, it can take your life. A lot of states don't have runoff ramps. New Jersey got mountains, don't have it. PA have runoff ramps in back roads. But there's not a runoff ramp on Route 80. Going from Pennsylvania to Chicago, that's no runoff ramp. Nah. See, they would have you thinking it's in these mountains, right? So you give a man 110 years. First of all, the man was a company driver. He drove for a company. As a company driver, it is not your responsibility to check. You could do a brake check inside the truck. But it's not your responsibility to pop the hood up, to check the slack adjusters, to adjust the slack adjusters. It's not your responsibility to go between the wheels and check the brakes. You can, but you don't know a hairline crack between that small to give you brakes. If it's that much, they'll put you out of service. That much on your brake, between your brake pads and your drums, they will put you out of service. So you got to be at least paper thin for your brakes to barely be touching your drums. They don't tell you that. That's not his job to go in the back and check the slack adjusters on the trailer. It's not his job. Every time you pull into that yard, the company I drive for, Narrow, that I'm leased to, every time we pull in that yard, Narrow check all their brakes. They check, because if your brakes are open, if you got 4 axles and 1 axle open, Narrow will check all your axles. If one open, they'll come out and adjust the brakes, or they'll tell you, put it to the side, they put out a service, they get to it. So you got companies like Narrow, a few other companies that when you pull in the yard, they checking lights, they checking brakes, they checking inspection, they checking everything on the trailer, on the chassis. A lot of companies don't do that. So now you got a guy pulling 80 plus down the mountain. He's in the center lane coming down. First, he was in the right lane, but he drifted over to the center lane. He's top heavy. If y'all know anything about driving trucks, he was top heavy. So now, if you stay in the right lane, you come in on a strong bend, you're going to top it over, it's going to hit the guardrail. You're going to wipe out anyway and lose your damn life. At the same time, if he would have stayed in that right lane, he would have topped over, or he would have caused a big wreck, caused cars coming down the hill that smack into his load anyway. Either which way you see it, the man ain't had no brakes. Now, one thing, when you drive a truck, you could just put brand new, I experienced this myself. I put brand new brakes on my tractor from front to back, all the way around. I was coming out of Auburn. I was coming down a tiny hill. My brake line came off. No brakes. No brakes. I'm coming down Route 80 one day by the weigh station. It's a straight drop. It turns by Tanneville. The chassis had no brakes. I got 86,000 pounds. Where's the runaway ramp? There's no runaway ramp. You know what's down there? There's a guardrail, there's a cliff, 100 drop, a mountain. That's my life. That's my life. So what he did when he got to the bottom, like a smart truck driver would do, you get in the right lane, you grab the rumble strip. That a lot of y'all see when y'all get on the shoulder, y'all go, why they put these holes in the ground? Why they got my front end shaking? Why they got these bumps on the road? That's for mainly truck drivers to slow their ass down, to help slow them down. Which that a lot of people don't understand. So people who drive cars, they don't drive trucks. People who make laws, they don't drive trucks. People who make the rules for truck drivers, the DOT department, they don't drive trucks. But they can sit up there and call this man a suspect. They could call him a criminal. They could give him 110 years. But the same state of Colorado, man go in Colorado, he kills his wife, his mother-in-law, he kills his kids. He got 30 years. Colorado Police Department got more bodies on them than a damn truck driver. But you wouldn't give a truck driver 110 years. 110 years for what? The man was doing his job. You give a man a CDL license and give him 110 years? That man only been driving for about a year and a half, a year. Maybe so a year and a half. He was a young driver. He was 22 at the time of the accident. You give this man his time. An experienced driver probably would have did the same thing. Probably would have did the same thing. But what they forgetting is that at the bottom of that mountain, there was already a vehicle accident. There was already a car accident at the bottom of the mountain. So at the bottom of the mountain, there's a wreck. He coming down that hill, he sees the wreck. He sees it. He tried his best to get over to the right and end up veering back to the left. You know why? Because when your slack adjusters are hot, when your brakes are hot, and your slack adjusters are hot, what's going to happen is when you hit those brakes, you ain't got no brakes. You hit the switch, it go brrrr, you got a J brake. You ain't, know why? The J brake don't work no more? Because once you lose air pressure for slamming on the brakes, you lose all the air pressure. What's going to happen is you ain't going to have no brakes. When the brakes go out, the J brake go out. Now, but you got a trolley brake. The trolley brakes applies brakes to the rear of the trailer or the rear of the container, chassis, whatever. The trolley brakes don't work. The trolley brake don't work for your tractor. It works specifically for the trailer on the back. Now, when you don't have no more air pressure, you ain't got no brakes. You just going and going. Do y'all know that? Once you lose your air pressure, brakes on a tractor and a trailer works by air pressure. 150 PSIs, it works by air pressure. When you lose the air pressure, you have no brakes. You pretty much a dead man walking. Hope you survive at the bottom of that mountain. Hope you survive anything when you ain't got no brakes and you pulling 80,000 pounds or less. 80,000 pounds or greater. There's times I pulled 90,000 pounds hauling chemicals, 90,000 pounds hauling jet fuel from North New Jersey to Middletown, New York. No brakes. Experienced driving though, You run it. You don't hit the brakes. You stab brake so that you don't lose your air pressure, and you run with the Jake. You just run with the Jake to slow this thing down. So to give a man that kind of time in the state of Colorado, the state where as though they legalized weed, and they still got people sitting in jail for weed. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. The state that got a problem with opioid, they got a problem with crystal meth, they got a problem with hard drugs. But you get a young truck driver, you give him a CDL, you tell him, go take care of your family, go start your career, be the best you can be. And the best you can be with a CDL is get 110 years. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Do I believe he should have got his license suspended for that? Yes. Should he did time for that? Somewhat. But for murder, for an accident, do y'all know that 80%, I can say, I'm gonna hit it with a big 90% of truck accidents come from vehicles. People like you. 90% of accidents come from people like you. Tailgating trucks, cutting off trucks, trucks pulling heavy load, you cut them off, they slam on their brakes, they jackknife loot the whole load, they kill themselves. That comes from you. It comes from you. And the other 10%, the other, like I said, the 5% comes from deers, animals, obstacles in the road. The other percent just come from truck drivers. I'm not gonna sit up here and stunt. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Some truck drivers is reckless. Some is reckless. They do reckless things. I'm not gonna just say all truck drivers are good truck drivers do reckless things. So when you get out there on that road, a lot of you truckers, and you got a CB, don't allow nobody to drive the truck for you. I don't know what he was hearing on that CB, but I know at that time when he lost his brakes, his heart was gone. When I mean his heart was gone, his brain was gone. All he knew that he was going to die at the bottom of that mountain. When you in a predicament or situation where as though you know your life is going to end, you got to do what you got to do to survive. That goes for anything in life. Whatever you're doing in those streets, the game you playing out here on these streets, there's a consequence. This young man lost his brakes because of service failure. At the end of the day, the company need to be held responsible for this. The company need to be held responsible for that man getting into that wreck. There was an accident in Colorado years ago. Guy got a wreck, killed 3 people. They awarded the family, whoever, $23 million. So to turn around again, they making sure we don't go through the same thing again. So you're going to go ahead and give this man all this time. The judge gave him that time. I think the jury found him now guilty on 4 charges. I don't even see why he even got a bunch of charges. When at the end of the day, if it's service failure and you coming down the mountain doing 85, the speed, he could have been going faster than that because the speedometer would tack out at 85. On these trucks after 85, there's no 90, 100, 175, 200. These trucks ain't like cars. But when they coming down with no brakes, they're like bullets. A truck will outpass a car with no brakes any given day with over 80,000 pounds. I know y'all got members out there that drive trucks, and they probably saying the same thing I'm saying. Some probably saying that he should have got time. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on, Lloyd? Some say he should have got time. My opinion of that, taking his license, suspending license for a couple months, I can see that. I can see that. But at the end of the day, I can't see no man doing that much time for an accident. Okay, cool. Rest in peace to the people that passed away. The 4 people that died. Rest in peace to them. You know. The other people that got injured in that accident, you know what I'm saying? Hope they had a full recovery after all these years. But see what happened, the young man walked away from it. And I think that's where the lawyers act like bulldogs and came after the man. because he walked away. Knee damage, back damage, leg damage, thigh damage. He got messed up in the wreck. But since he walked away and he didn't die, keyword, he didn't die. So now they gotta make an example out of him. They gotta make an example out of him. They should hold the company responsible. But the reason why the company railroaded him, because you got big corporations that support these companies. But I tell you one thing, if you pull the DOT number, the driver that the driver that they said what happened to the driver that got all the time. The driver ended up getting 110 years. He got 110 years. He was sentenced to 110 years for that accident. Now, I'm going to show you. Now, right now, the governor is trying to pull clemency, right? Here you go. I'm going to show you the video real quick.
For the truck driver sentenced to 110 years in prison in a Colorado accident that killed 4 people. Rogel Aguilera Mederos was sentenced on Monday in Jefferson County District Court. You see, that horrific wreck was on I-70 near Colorado Springs Mall. That was April of 2019. Our Rick Salinger has covered the trucker's case since that day and has new information right now. Rick?
Well, James Cogan, the attorney for the truck driver, says there will be an appeal, but it won't be based on that mandatory 110-year sentence. Instead, it'll be on any errors that might have occurred during the trial. But still, that sentence is raising more than just eyebrows. For those who drive the big rigs,
at the same time right now, they have a petition going on to help get the man off, right? To bring his time down. But right now in the state of Colorado, you have a lot of trucks sitting on the shoulder. There's a lot of trucks on the shoulder in Colorado right now. There's not going in. There's not going in Colorado. They ain't trying to do no business in Colorado. A lot of truckers are shutting their lives down because of that. Oh, let me see something. See if I can find anything on here. So you got a lot of drivers right now. It's shutting down. But it don't make no sense. Give me 1 second here.
Yup, let's talk about it.
Tell me your game.
So you had these, my name.
You have a crop?
The first service, people.
Yeah, right now, a lot of truckers are shutting down for going to Colorado, man. So if you know anybody getting a CDL or a CDL school right now, you know, listen to what I'm saying. When you get out there on that road, drive the truck the way you see fit. Don't have nobody force drive you. Don't have forced dispatch. What I mean by forced dispatch will bring you in right there. You'll tell the dispatch, well, right now, I only got an hour and a half to get back to the terminal. So the dispatch will tell you, well, I need you to go get this hot load. You be like, all right, where the hot load at? Well, the hot load is 3.5 hours away. You be like, well, only got an hour and a half. I'm out of service. Oh, no, but you got to get this load. This is $1 million load. So now, they forcing you after you done ran raggedy all week, and you go get that load. Once you choose to go get that load, you liable. Once you choose to go get that load, you liable. That's forced dispatching. Because if you don't get that load, they're gonna throw you in the bus. Now you can't make no money. But one thing I'll let you young drivers know that's getting into the game right now: don't run for the money. Let the money run to you. You know what I just said? Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you. Because what happened is, that same man that's going to get that load, he going to get down the road, he going to fall asleep. He going to wreck out and kill somebody. He going to wake up in handcuffs. Now they're going to charge you with vehicular homicide. Now you sitting in prison. Because what happened? When you got that load, you was out of hours. You ain't had no hours to do that. So they're going to charge you with vehicular homicide. You can be sitting there facing 10 to 30. For what? Forced dispatch. Because the dispatch gonna cover their ass. Know what they gonna say? You ain't had to go get that load. You could have parked the truck. We don't force dispatch. The terminal manager gonna support the dispatcher. The owner gonna support the terminal manager and support the dispatcher. So now, when you wreck their truck and you sitting in jail, the insurance company gonna come after you too. So how you gonna pay back a truck when you sitting in prison? So while you sitting in prison making money sitting in a privatized prison, and you able to come home on an appeal, or you able to come home with good behavior, as soon as you hit that ground, you gonna get bills in the mail from an insurance company telling you that you wrecked the truck 10 years ago. Now you ain't even got no CDR. How you gonna pay that back to insurance company? That's what these trucking companies will do to you. They got every means, and they got the power and authority. They got the big guns and the big lawyers, and they got the bulldogs to protect them. That's why that man got 110 years. Because he didn't have nobody to protect him. They threw him under the bus. And all of y'all want to cry about the union, the union, the union, the union. If that company was union or not, they're not going to protect that man. You know what the union going to say? Oh, he only had his license for a year. He didn't even make the union to make union dues. So you pretty much shot. Do not allow these companies to force dispatch you. Don't let them do it. Because it's a recipe suicide mission. Because you're going to get up there and do it. And the company got lawyers to protect them. You better believe it. The company got lawyers out there. You can be sentenced to 110 years for what? A man killed his family, don't he get 110 years? A man get out there and sell drugs to a whole community. Kill off the whole community. He don't even get 110 years. He turned around and snitched to the feds. He come home in 10. But he done killed the whole community. He don't even get 110 years. A child molester don't get 110 years. A man that beat up his wife 24/7, mentally and physically and verbally, don't even get 110 years. The cops that killed George Floyd ain't even get 110 years. So where we going with this? Where we going with this? You giving up that kind of time to a truck driver? So is your license worth that? Is your health worth that? That should be a wake-up call to all us truck drivers. This is a wake-up call to me and to you. They got 30 years. They got 30 years. I'm 29 years in. It's not gonna not stop me from driving trucks, but it's gonna keep me aware on how a lot of these states is gonna fall in line. A lot of these states. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't never seen it either, man. I never even heard it. The judge gave him the time. Mandatory. Mandatory, bro. So while we sitting back discussing 110 years, when they bring those non-manpower trucks in, when Amazon already running them. FedEx is starting to run them. They probably running them now. Running these trucks with nobody in them. When them trucks crash and wreck and cause the same horrifying accident, who they gonna blame? Ain't nobody in the truck. Who they gonna blame? You know who they gonna blame? They gonna blame corporate. They're going to blame these tech companies. You get out there and try to sue, you can't sue a man because ain't no man in the truck. So they trying to take all the truck drivers out the truck and bring all of these self-made trucks in. That's what they're going to do. And when they start killing people by the numbers, then they're going to take them off the road. But you got these big tech companies, these billionaires that never drove a truck before can tell you how to operate an 80,000-pound vehicle. Never drove a truck before. They can show you that. They could write a whole book on how to drive a truck. I bet you the person that wrote the CDL book don't even drive trucks. You got somebody sitting up in these high, powerful colleges writing books on everything, instructions on everything, how to do this, how to do lists on everything, but never drove a truck. Never drove a truck. A computer stimulates can't show you how to drive a truck because things work like this. Once you on that road, like I was telling Tazo, salute to Tazo, because Tazo in trucking school. Like I was telling Tazo, what you learn in school today on that road, you ain't gonna see none of that. Nah. What you learn in school today, you ain't gonna see it on the highway. You ain't gonna see it. You was not gonna see it on the highway. It's gonna happen so fast. Snapping your fingers happens so fast. Road conditions, weather, debris, animals, roadkill, people who looking for a truck accident. Because all this gonna do is make everybody sue now. So all you truckers out there, be on your P's and Q's, man. Because 110 years is sending us a straight direct message. We have to be on our P's and Q's right now. Because if we don't get on our P's and Q's, everything we do is going to be looked at and questionable. Now it's going to make DOT go harder. Other than DOT giving us a ticket now, they're going to be writing out bills for us now and having to pay that bill on the spot. Some states already do that. I got a bill. I had a load going from North New Jersey to Buffalo. Picked up a load in Buffalo. Was going to Washington State. Got in Washington State. It was signed up, chain up. Coming out of Jersey. I don't have chains on my truck. I don't even have them on the tractor. They made me spin around and go get the chain. I put the chain on the tractor. I think I spent $485 for chain and I had about 4 sets in big bags. When I got back to go to Washington State, they took the restriction sign off. I got a ticket. Gave the ticket to my boss, the guy I was leased to. Now I do it. He was gonna pay the ticket. 2 years later, they put my driver's license, they put a lien hold on my CDL license. I never knew a state can do that. The state of Washington State put a lien hold on my CDL license and hit me with an $1,100 bill. A $1,100 bill plus interest. Because I didn't pay a ticket in 2 years. It wasn't my ticket. The ticket wasn't rolled out to me. The ticket was rolled out to the company. Yeah, the ticket was rolled out to the company. The Chinese man I was leased on to, Harvest Trans, he never paid the ticket. Never paid the ticket. The ticket was reversed back to me. $1,100 ticket. They put a hold on my license. I never knew a state can put a lien hold on your license. So I went to motor vehicle in Jersey and I tried to renew my CDL license in Jersey. I went to Trenton. Trenton told me, nah, you got to call this number. There's a hold on your license. I said, a hold? What the hell is that? Just a hold on your license. Call the number. State office, motor vehicle in Washington State. $1,100 bill. This is what they do to truck drivers, man. And that's one main reason why I got off the road. I'm not paying the bills like that. I had to pay the bill to get the lien off my license. I had a lien hold. I had to get off my license. If I never paid, I wouldn't be driving no more. Then they were putting it on your credit report. That tells you right there, $1,100 ticket, man. So these bills are going up with the truckers. So you truckers, man, you own operator like myself, you just got to stay on top of your grind, man. You got to stay looking over your truck. You got to look over your slack adjusters, your brake cams, your brakes. Make sure you ain't got no cracked brakes. Because of what happened over there, they're going to be checking our brakes hard. They're going to check. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do a little demonstration, right? Now, I want y'all to see something. It's a demonstration, all right? Now, this you can get close to break. This about the close you can get it. You see this right here? This your drum. This your drum, right here. This your drum on your tractor. It's front and back. Inside here is your brake. These are your brake liners, your brake pads, right? If the DOT see a spider web crack, if he grabbed that light and there's a spider web crack, the brakes ain't even got to be cracked. But there's a spider web crack inside your brake pads, DOT will put you out of service. They put you out of service. Just a hairline crack will put you out of service. DOT is going to call a wrecker. Roadside. Can't move the truck. They pull up. Once they call roadside, that's when they start charging you. $7 per mile to come to you. Depends on the state. So he come to you at $7 per mile. By the time he come with a whole set of brake pads, snatch that wheel off, put them new pads on there, put that wheel on, now that turned into an $800 bill. We ain't even talking about the miles yet. For him to go back to his yard, which he ain't going back to his yard because he going to another call. You may think he going to his yard, he going to another call because the records make money keep moving. You done went from a brake job to damn at $1,500. Now, you got a service failure. DOT gonna put that on your CSS scores. So now, you got put out of service with faulty brakes. DOT sending you a bill. So when you get on, so say if you leave that company, even though that truck wasn't even your truck, and you leave that company, them CS scores follow you. So now the company pull up your CDL, it's going to show you had a service failure. You're going to say that wasn't even my truck, but you was driving it. You're going to say it's not my job to look at those brakes. They're going to say, but you was driving it. You call the company, they're not going to back you. Know why? Because you left. This is what companies do, man. Don't think because you're doing everything you can for a company that you spindle, man. You really just another driver, man. You just another driver. You walk out that door, they'll bring another one in. You walk out that door, they'll bring another driver in with less experience. He want to be a super cowboy. He want to be a super trucker. He gonna run like a demon. They're not gonna care because with a lot of these truck companies, the company I'm with is like a family business, and I respect them. They respect me. But a lot of these companies, you like a revolving door. You come in the door, you walk out the door. You come in the door, you walk out the door. Now I'm gonna tell you an incident, right? A friend of mine, he got into an incident, but it was like it was a service failure. He bought a tractor off the company. He was in Staten Island coming into Jersey on Staten Island Bridge. Anybody, the Gotham's Bridge. Anybody know? Y'all know Low Waxdog, y'all know what I'm talking about. He was coming from Staten Island, crossing the Gotham's Bridge, Down the bridge, get on the Jersey Turnpike. Flip the thing over. The rear springs broke. Ain't kill nobody. But the truck almost went over the guardrail. He broke his shoulder. His collarbone. Was in the hospital for damn near a year. End up suing, walked away with millions. The company left him out to dry. They ain't even back him. They ain't even back him. You know why? Because the company DOT number, if you look up the DOT number on a lot of companies that's out there, it will show you their safety rating. It will show you their accidents. It'll show you how many times they was put out of service. A lot of these companies got bad DOT numbers that they switched to insurance and they switched the DOT number so they can have a clean slate. See, a lot of y'all don't know that. A lot of y'all don't know that. So before you get on with some of these companies, even if you want, run the DOT number. That's how you'll find out the company. Because a lot of these companies are merged up under 3 entities. It could be like the driver that hit me. Evans, Lano Lake, and On Wheels. All under the same underwriter. All under the same entity. But if you don't know that, they switch up so you can't sue them. So you can't sue them. So at the end of the day, man, I'm about to get up out of here because I gotta drop this transmission on this transmission pan on this BMW and do the oil real quick so I can at least get back on the road. But I appreciate all y'all for coming in here, man. If y'all can, share this live to your fellow truckers. Share this live to, people that's getting into the trucking industry. Be mindful. Drive safe. Drive safe. And don't let nobody force dispatch you. Don't let nobody drive the truck for you. Don't let no other truck drivers on the road get in your head and get on that CB and tell you driving too slow. You shifting too slow. Because a lot of experienced drivers like myself can be real cocky. Not me. I take it easy because the truck still scares me sometimes. After going on 30 years, it still scares me sometimes. So a lot of y'all get out there, man. Y'all drive safe, man. And y'all keep moving your head left to right. A smart driver go left, right, straight. Left, right, or left, right, right, left. Whatever you do, keep bobbing your head. Keep bobbing your head. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings when you're out there on that road. Because if not, you have a state trying to give you 110 years for doing the job that you went to school for. The state can give you a license and then give you 110 years. So take care of yourself, man. Take care of yourself, man. Always say in trucking, keep the earth in front of you, keep the wind behind you. I'm out. One love.